Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, definitely come check us out. We'd love to have you. That group was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting them to that 6 and 7 figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. So today, I want to introduce you to one of the members of the community, Matthew Hamburger. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here. I
Awesome.
appreciate it.
You're welcome, man. So tell us, what do you do?
Um, I own a yoga studio in South Florida, and I also help some people online. And my specialized approach is called posture police. So I blend the wisdom of yoga and science of physical therapy into a pain relieving corrective exercise approach. And then, yeah, that's one of our key pillars in our studio, Holisticrats Yoga and Wellness. And we are, with all the crazy pandemic stuff, we are continuing to offer virtual classes, even though we just opened our studio up again.
Yeah, awesome. So COVID-19 kind of shut down. So when they shut down, did you guys make a shift right to online?
Oh, yeah. We saw the writing on the wall. We saw that it was coming. And actually, I believe it was 2 days before the mandate took place, we completely switched over to all virtual classes.
Mm-hmm.
Right before they were mandating us to close. So it definitely was a little shot in the guts and the solar plexus, but we really did a good job of serving our members and prioritizing our members and learning a lot from going virtual, enhancing our teaching ability, and trying to help as many people relieve their stress and pain.
Yeah. And you said right now the office is opened back up, right?
Yes, we are limited to keeping all of our students a little bit more distance. I like to say physical distance instead of social distancing. But yeah, we're only allowing 6 people in studio. And then we are incorporating some outside classes so we can help more people. And every one of our classes that we're doing in studio, we're also streaming through Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, so you guys are still keeping the online portion of it as well.
Yeah, we have a number of clients and members that are still a little bit weary of coming into the studio just yet. They want to wait till they know things are clearly safe, and
Mm-hmm.
they might have family members that are high risk. So knowing that we really were able to touch even more people virtually, like we had clients from India, New Jersey, California, northern Florida, and we're in southern Florida. So we really were able to meet some people and have a greater connection with people. We loved it.
Yeah.
So we
Awesome.
wanted to continue that.
Love that, man.
Yeah,
So before, I guess before COVID, were you guys online? Did you guys do any type of Zoom type stuff, or is it just based on when that happened?
absolutely nothing. We didn't do anything online. Yes, we were pushing social media. We were making some videos, but it really was kind of like lackadaisical. We really weren't aggressive with it. And knowing that we didn't know whether the shutdown would have been a month or a year, we wanted to really aggressively turn everything virtual and serve our clientele. Because what does a business do other than offer value?
All right. Yeah, definitely. So tell us, what's your backstory then? How did you get started? How did you get started with yoga?
Yoga was actually a little bit of a weird route for me. I went to massage school when I was 19, having no idea what I wanted to do. I was in business school. I dropped out of business school because I didn't have the passion for it. And I went into massage school thinking, okay, this is going to be my stepping stone career. Then I went into every element of the massage industry. And 3 years later, or before I even turned 24, I purchased a massage business, a franchise that was a little bit floundering with my family. They helped me invest and purchase it. I was the main owner operator, and we built it year after year. I actually resisted yoga a lot at that point in time. Like I was like, no yoga for me. Yoga's for that person over there. So I was a licensed massage therapist for a total of 10 years. I owned a massage business. I did everything, and I was like, yoga's not for me. And then once I realized I wanted to sell the business, I just caved to yoga, and I went to actually a beer yoga class because I thought like I made it more masculine if there was beer involved. And I realized right away that, wow, my knowledge of anatomy, my knowledge of muscles, yoga is so important. And that was actually after I started Posture Police that I went to my first yoga class.
Hmm.
And it woke me up. Like I went 2 weeks later, I went back to the same beer yoga class. And then I kept on going, but not to beer yoga. I started looking for other yoga. And it just woke me up to realize that the ancient wisdom of yoga has practical values today. So it led me on a path. And then I met my girlfriend and business partner, Juliana, not even a year and a half ago. And we opened the studio less than a year ago. So it
Yeah.
was like the fast track to opening the studio. And it's been an amazing experience creating community. We're right outside of Parkland, where the Stoneman Douglas shooting took place, because I went to Stoneman Douglas. And a
Hmm.
lot of the reason I wanted to open up here is I really want to keep on serving that community. There's a lot of trauma still there, and they need that healing. And now, with all this other trauma taking place in the world, I really want to help create a community and platform for healing.
Yeah, love that, man. So have you always been, would you consider yourself just a natural entrepreneur? Because as you said, you started your first business, now you're into the yoga business. Have you always been an entrepreneur?
I can't say I was always an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
I'm some of the entrepreneurs and some of the business people I follow, I hear them say that they were once lazy. So I was once really lazy and I always wanted to be efficient with my time. So I think that's kind of what led me to not want to live life on someone else's time clock. I wanted to live on my own and beat it, like, what is it? Live at the beat of my own drum. So I think that's what led me to want to be an entrepreneur is I really wanted to let my own creativity shine and live my own true free thinking life. And having the massage business helped me realize that yes, a franchise is very powerful, but I want to create the systems myself. I want to do things. I'm willing to do all the work from the ground up to build
Hmm.
it. So I think it was kind of like layers. Like every year I kind of like became more of an entrepreneur. But I think my father implanted that in me because he's always been doing business, doing his own thing, import, export. And I think I kind of like took on that a little bit. So
Hmm.
to answer the question, I guess you could say kind of.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's nature or nurture, but it's a
Uh-huh.
little bit of both.
Yeah, yeah, that's what's up, man. Now, how do you see in terms of the yoga studio? What's your vision with yoga and doing having a studio and all these different things? Well, what's your vision?
My vision for originally wanting to open the studio is seeing it as I see a holistic movement of balancing mind, body, and spirit, and everyone taking responsibility for their own health as necessary for the betterment of society. I see it as something where we need a holistic movement. Not everything is about how our body is. Our mental state is only so much. And if our physicality isn't important, and for some reason, when you balance mind and body, it leads you to spirituality. That's what happened with me. Like I didn't want to be spiritual. It kind of just like forced its way into me by searching for balance. And once I found that balance or that, I guess, site to search for balance, I started believing that everyone else needs to. So my vision for Holistocrats is the name Holistocrats is like a spin on aristocrat. So I believe everyone was born with a birthright to live a holistic life, which means you're searching for that balance. Um, and that's my real dream with Holistocrats is we're starting at a yoga studio. We're now expanded. We've now expanded virtually, and we could touch more people. And I really see the holistic philosophy turning into a movement, and us developing and building into having holistic health centers. And I'm not exactly sure what that means in all seriousness, but I know I want everyone to see the benefit of actually healing themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome stuff, man. And I love that vision. Um, Now the question, something I love asking as far as in terms of stories, right? So is there any stories that's based on where you are right now? You run your business, doing all these different things. What's one story like you could share from maybe your past, and like you could say, okay, that's we could kind of look back and say, so that's how you kind of ended up on this journey. That's how you got on this path.
Well, for me, I think it really comes down to when I look back at when I went to massage school. Like, yes, I was 19, I was almost 20, but I was this 70-pound overweight kid where I was drinking soda, eating subs every day, thinking that Snackwell cookies were healthy, like not realizing that you shouldn't have ice cream as a coping mechanism every day. So I was literally in a truly dysfunctional lifestyle. And like within 2 weeks of being in massage school and just being around people that might not have been so aggressive on their healing journey, I was able to see that it was time for me to make a shift. And within that 2 week period, I cut soda out of my life. I stopped eating sugar. And within 2 years of like that change, I ended up losing like 60 pounds. So it ended up being like the journey where for me, it started with weight because I didn't know how to monitor my feelings and I would eat my feelings away.
Hmm.
That was my problem. And so looking back on it, I lost all the weight. I started feeling vibrant and I realized that the journey was just beginning then. That wasn't like the journey to lose weight and then it ended. That was just the first chapter. So I think that for me was it. And I just keep on channeling that energy of like, oh, I was able to make the change. Now what's next? And I always look at what's next for me to change. This quarantine and this lockdown has been so beneficial for me to develop my personal habits even more, doing the miracle morning, which I know is all famous and many people know the miracle morning, the morning routine, and just being so into developing myself, even if it's 1% at a time, that ripples into how I relate to my business, how I perform in my business, and the results that I get.
Yeah, yeah, love that, man. And I love the
So,
1%. Yeah, as far as because most individuals they show up saying, "Hey, I want to get 110, 20%, all these different things." But at the end, especially when it comes to personal growth, change, transformation, it's always good to say, "Hey, let's just get on the journey and don't try to change everything all at once, right? But just start with taking the next step, next step, the next step. Keep each improving. As they say, if you improve 1% each day at the end of the year, it's not 365 because everything compounds, right?"
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much really that 1% does ripple. And we're all different. Like we all end up every time, I believe every time we kind of grow and grow beyond who we were yesterday, we bring our problems with us. We
Hmm.
kind of bring our whether it's trauma, whether it's limiting beliefs, we kind of come to another layer of them. So that's why I look at things as minuscule or even reasonable growth. You
Hmm.
can only do so much at a time unless you're going to rebound and fall back.
Yeah, love that, love that. Now, what about let's see, what about skills wise, right? What skill would you say you've mastered that got you to where you are today?
Uh, I'm going to say it's actually pattern recognition. Like I see muscle patterns in people. I see when someone has rounded shoulders. I could spot someone that's had lower back pain, and this is the posture police in me. This is why I got a
Hmm.
trademark for posture police. I'm able to look at someone just walking down the street and understand whether they're struggling with lower back pain, sciatica, they have neck pain, or occasional. I can see in their body what's going on. And I think it's translated from me being probably the most analytical massage therapist I've ever met. I hired and I had probably 60 massage therapists over the years working for me. And I was the one thing that I'm not the best. I'm the most analytical.
Hmm.
So I was able to look at the muscle patterns of people and see, oh, wow, you have pain. And I predict it. And one of the things I did to market our studio and Posture Police is I would literally call someone out on the street and say, do you have lower back pain? And they're like, how do you know? And it was fun. So, and then coupling that with the other skill I have to say is I actually, with marketing the business and wanting to be the little bit of a thought provoker that I've always been, I literally walk around when I promote the studio with a water bottle on my head.
Hmm.
So I get people where it sounds weird, but it's a great way to draw attention, and I could immediately read someone's face whether they want to talk to me or they don't.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, and
Are
then
you
I tell
filming this
people,
stuff? Are you filming any of this stuff?
oh yeah, there's some films of me doing it. Like I have a video of me bowling a strike with a water bottle on my head, doing some throwing a football. I actually have been to just my personal, like what I love personally is I love rock music and I
Hmm.
go to concerts. So there's a couple videos on YouTube of me being in a mosh pit with a water bottle on my head. And it's hilarious. I look back on it every once in a while, like, wow, that was fun.
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where it's like, I want people to ask me what I'm doing so
Mhm.
that I can create that meaningful conversation. And I know they're listening when I'm like, I'm just trying to promote balance. Balance is hard to find. It's not easy. Balance is really challenging as us humans because we're either stressed out or lazy. And it's like, balance is challenging. Even I don't believe I've mastered balance, but that's my mission, is to find my own balance, keep on finding it so that I can actually be an example to other people that we could manage our stress, manage our pain, and live a life of balance.
Mhm. Love it, man. But and that's good. You got the marketing thing as well. So because as with every business, right, it's really what drives sales is marketing. Marketing has to be out there. And it was fascinating you mentioned that, because I remember watching when I was a little bit younger, a few years ago, and watching these guys. They would be on YouTube with the cameras and doing all these weird things. And I'm like, what? But they're getting a lot of views, right? So they get a ton of views. I'm like, what's going on? But then at the end, they would always pitch their stuff or introduce you. Here's what I do. It's like, you hang on, you're doing this thing, and you, because I at least I thought they were just entertainers, but I just realized marketing has gone to the point where it's gotten so fascinating now. Like, you got to be creative, right? You got to find interesting ways to stand out to where people you get that conversation started, right?
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
super important. And what I love it because it also actually started putting the water bottle on my head when I was at a concert. And in all seriousness, my friends were too drunk to find me. So I didn't want to move from my amazing spot in the crowd. So I put a water bottle on my head and I said, look for the water bottle on my head. I'm a problem solver. So then fast forward, now it's like, oh, there's a real reason for it. I actually have a reason. I'm being the posture police, but with our studio, we really are known for having beginner yoga, and it's super beginner friendly. A lot of studios all over the place, yoga studios, claim to be beginner friendly, and it's more of a talking point. We
Mhm.
have a beginner curriculum. So I want to reach as many people to show them that, like, when you're ready to give yoga a try, like, most people know the wisdom and the benefits, but most people that know of it haven't actually tried yoga.
Mhm.
So I want to just reach as many people as possible. If I can get attention, I'll get attention. And then I hope that they're willing to try yoga. And if not, that's their prerogative.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome, man. Love it, love it. Now, what about, are there any books you kind of, I mean, are you a big reader? Are you listen to podcasts? How do you get your daily dose of whether it's inspiration or just new ideas?
I've been reading a couple books. Actually, I've been juggling two books at the moment. Um, Actually, before the quarantine, I was more of an audiobook podcast listener, but I really wanted to master the skill, or at least learn to like reading, because at least reading is not only, it's peaceful too. It's a level of peace. It's a level of silence that you have. So the books that I've been reading right now is Mindset by Carol Dweck. It's a game changer. She talks about a limited mindset, or a fixed mindset, a growth mindset, and then it also talks about a false growth mindset. So I learned from that book that I had oftentimes a false growth mindset, where I thought I was growing, but in reality, I was just giving myself the comfort of thinking that I was growing and getting myself a little dopamine release. So that book is a game changer. Um, I believe everyone who's like in high school should be reading that book. The other one that I'm currently reading is Grounded Spirituality by Jeff Brown. I don't know if you ever heard of Jeff Brown, but Jeff Brown is he talks about how spirituality is more of emotional connection with yourself. It's
Hmm.
it's it's not as much spirituality. Like, I used to be anti-spirituality, and then reading this book, he really puts it in a practical, logical approach that spirituality is not that woo-woo crazy stuff. It's about being connected with yourself. And
Yeah.
that's the start of spirituality. And by being connected with yourself, you have to embrace all of your emotions: sadness, anger, fear, shame. And then we have so much growth of being connected with yourself, with even those negative emotions, that you then also have to connect with joy and love and all the other emotions. So yeah, to me, that's been super powerful. Those two books, I'm actually in the middle still of reading both of those, and I kind of juggle them both off because they're actually very different concepts.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I love that,
yes,
man.
so I love it, man.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, I love what you said about the growth, right? The growth mindset as far as because I definitely see that when I was younger as well. So I definitely saw that quite a bit in my journey. There's always, and I think the place where I noticed the thing where you're like, okay, I think I'm from coming from a growth mindset, but it was one of those like little tricks you play on yourself, where it's just like, as you said, dopamine. I mean, it feels good, but when you really look, if there was an outside observer, you realize that, are you really changing? Are you really doing the thing? And you realize, nah, not really.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
BSing myself. I was telling
yeah.
myself what I wanted to hear
Mhm.
instead of actually putting in the uncomfortable work to actually grow.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. And the place I noticed for that for myself was within my values. When I really started looking at the transformation change, I realized, oh, one of the quickest ways to change is your values. And I went into seeing, okay, what are my current values? And I realized I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But then when I look at my values was like comfort and security. And I realized, like, man, as an entrepreneur. But for me, I felt like, no, no, I could do it. I could make this thing work. I could do all these different things, but come from a place of comfort and security as an entrepreneur. You feel like, no, no, I'm not that. But when you realize that's who you really are and you're playing this game, it's a pretty dangerous game, because again, at the same time, if you're an entrepreneur and you're not willing to put yourself in places where it's uncomfortable or risk the stuff of the fear of being rejected, all these different things, you end up doing a lot of work showing up, but at the end, the results they just aren't there, right?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I've lived that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've definitely lived that. I've learned that my weakness at times has just been that I was afraid to see and face my bitter truth. And oftentimes it led me to be complacent. Like I might have been moving in the right direction, but I wasn't challenging myself to grow. So
Hmm.
it's like autopilot. You can be autopiloting in the right direction, but that doesn't mean you're actually personally growing and you're developing into who you want to become.
Hmm.
So that was what I learned from that. And yeah, I think every entrepreneur and everyone who wants to really be productive and impact people in this world, you have to challenge yourself to grow, and you have to be willing to risk not only uncomfortable stuff, but the effort, the shame, the ridicule, and yeah, like many of us really we're looking to shake this earth, and it doesn't. You can't be comfortable while trying to shake this earth. If you're trying to do good, yeah, you got to shake things up.
Exactly. Love it. Okay. So I'm coming short on time here, but if someone wanted to reach out, what's the best way for them to connect?
The best way to connect would either be if my email is posturepd@gmail. The other way to connect is through our studio website, holisticrats.com. And yeah, if you go to holisticrats.com, uh, then we have under our class schedule, you can see any of our virtual classes. And anyone that is seeing this, if you email me at posturepd, I will give you a free virtual posture police class. So that's something I really want to do. I really want to spread my reach to help people relieve their pain. So anyone that is watching this, I would love to give you guys a free little demo on how you can. I might be able to help you. I should be able to help you relieve your neck, back, hip, or shoulder pain.
Awesome. Love it, guys. And all the links Matthew shared here today, guys, they'll be either right above or below this video. So definitely, if you're interested, click on the links and definitely check him out. So Matthew, hey man, thank you so much for making the time to be here today. Really, really appreciate it. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
My only thing is I just want to thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love your library in the background, and I hope you have a balanced day.
Awesome. Thank you again, and we'll be in touch.
Yes. Take care.
Awesome.